So welcome to a new video here in the Trade Society Forex course, and this is an add-on because I got a lot of questions about how to choose the correct position size, and it is a very simple three-step process which I will go through now with you, and we'll do that step by step, and you will see by the end that it is quite simple. So first of all, we always have to ask ourselves how many lots we have to buy or sell to get a certain risk level, and the most important thing is here that we always keep our risk constant. And most traders make a mistake that they always choose the same lot size, but then it throws off your percentage risk, and you will see that. And we always have to keep the percentage risk constant instead of the lot-based risk, because it helps us to achieve a much smoother account growth and avoid or reduce a lot of account volatility and risk as well. So the first step is we have to decide how much risk we want to risk on our trades. And this, of course, depends a lot on your personal risk profile and also on your risk tolerance. So anything from 0.5% to 3% is possible, and traders use that. The maximum of 3% is usually only used for the absolute best setups, and also if you're okay with a lot of risk. So generally we stick to 1% per trade, and that is a very good starting size for risk, and it's also pretty conservative because you need at least 100 consecutive losses before you will blow up your account. So 1% risk is quite a good amount to start with. So 1% on a $1,000 account is $10, 1% on a $2,000 is $20, 1% on $10,000 is $100. So you get the idea. This is how much you can potentially lose on a trade if the trade or if price hits your stop loss orders, and if you've set your position size correctly. So the next step is that we have to determine and find out the stop loss distance, and without a stop we cannot determine the position size, and many traders get that wrong. Many traders think they can trade without a stop, but trading without a stop is not only risky, but it's also impossible to determine your risk and your position size. So we always have to find a stop level before we enter the trade and before you hit the execute or the buy and sell button. So no stop loss, no risk, and no trade. That is very important. Then a step in between here, it is not necessarily important for the position size, but it's very important overall. So before we enter the trade and before we find our position size, we have to find and look for a reasonable take profit price, and then we have to measure our reward to risk ratio, and then we have to ask ourselves, is the reward to risk ratio large enough? Is it large enough? Then okay. Is it not large enough? Then we have to skip the trade, because over the long term having trades with a small reward to risk ratio will also ruin our performance and cost us a lot of money. So also important here in this context that you don't try to just set a wider closer stop loss or a wider take profit order to get a higher reward to risk ratio. Always look for reasonable levels, and if you don't have a large enough reward to risk ratio, which happens from time to time, then you just skip the trade. And now the final step is that you have to use and put in all the metrics that you have identified, which is your account size, the risk level, the stop loss distance, and you put it in the calculator, and then it shows you exactly how many lots, micro or mini lots, you have to buy or sell. And I recommend the Baby Pips calculator. Baby Pips is usually not the best source overall for trading content. It's a little bit too basic and too generic, but for this they have a very good position size calculator, and we'll switch to that now. So here is the Baby Pips position size calculator, and it's very straightforward. So first you put in your account currency here, you can choose from the list. Then you put in your account balance, your risk percentage. I put in 1, then stop loss in pips, you can see that 45, and without a stop loss you cannot even determine your risk. So a good reminder here, without a stop you cannot choose your position size. Then you'll have to choose the currency pair that you are about to trade, because for each currency the tick value and the pip value is slightly different. Then you put in here the price for the specific currency pair that you're about to trade. Then you click on calculate, and then you'll see here 1% on a $10,000, as we said, is $100 US. Then here they show you your position size. You cannot trade standard lots, you can trade mini lots. So 2 mini lots will give you roughly a risk of 100 US dollar, and if you have the choice or that you can use micro lots, then 22 micro lots is what you need to buy or sell, whatever the direction of your trade, to achieve a $100 risk. So although this video took a little bit longer, when you do this in practice, it will become, or it is very easy. You will see that it just takes a minute or two to get your position size right, and this is highly recommended. Without determining the correct position size, I would not recommend that you take any trade, and because it throws off your risk, and as I said, you increase your account volatility, and overall your account performance will not look as good.